Yeah. I feel like I look like 2024. Yeah. I don't look like a new year yet.
You don't look like 2K25.
But it's the new year. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back, baby.
Happy New Year.
January 5th, Sunday, January 5th. We are in a new year. A lot of new beginnings. Your gyms are full. Everyone is poor from the holidays. The Ozempics is out of stock.
Woo.
Everyone has a lot of things they want to get going for this new year. Thank you guys for coming back in the new year and messing with us. We appreciate it. We know a lot of you guys are probably listening to this while you're doing your whatever your resolution was for the next week or two. You'll probably be listening to the podcast, being very motivated, and then the following week you'll go back to being your normal self on the couch and listening to us while you order pizza.
Consistency.
Yeah, that's what it's about. A lot of people don't like it, but I think it's cool. I think it's fine. I think the new year is a good place to try. Because some people get mad that other people, I've been one of these people that get mad that other people want to reinvent themselves. New year, new me. But I think a lot of y'all need reinventions.
I feel like you have to say it like that. New year, new me.
It's definitely not just a saying, it's an attitude for sure.
Definitely an attitude.
The new year is definitely an attitude. But yeah, like I was saying, a lot of people need to be reinvented. So if this is the time of year that you want to try to do it. I feel like we should be allowed to tell people what their resolution should be.
What they should do.
You shouldn't pick your own resolution.
You coming in hot.
You should have your friend come to you and be like, listen, you need to stop eating fried food.
Yes.
I could see it in your neck.
Resolution by committee.
Yeah, not because a lot of people a lot of people have resolutions, but it's never like sometimes it's just like personal stuff that they want to work on. But what about the stuff I need you to work on?
And the stuff that you need them to work on, but the stuff that they want to work on won't even benefit them.
What do you mean?
It won't really benefit them. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna drink more coffee in the new year. Like, how is that benefiting you? You need to get on the treadmill and stop eating fried food, like you said.
I think we should start this. I think instead of doing like a Friendsgiving, I think at the start of the new year, you should get 3 of your closest friends together, all right? You should throw like a dinner and they should tell you what you need to do better as a person. I
second that, and I think that it should be, like you said, resolutions by committee, and it should be before the new year. So I have a plan going into it. Like, hey, we schedule this meeting. You submit what you want to work on and we'll approve it, or we'll give you some suggestions. Like, that's not the one.
This would be a good activity for the week between like Christmas start of Hanukkah and New Year's, because there's nothing productive happening that week.
Nothing.
Yeah. I have a family tradition. I might have spoke about this before, but on that week I do we do a guys dinner, like just the men in the family. We go to dinner and
powerful.
We go to like a restaurant and we just it's kind of like a resolutions type of thing where we all get together and we tell each other what the resolutions is going to be for next year.
Wow.
Individually. And then we do it again the following year. And that way we can hold each other accountable for like what they said that they were going to try to do better this year.
Have you ever had to look a family member in the face and be like, I'm not going to lie to you, you did not hit the mark this year?
Yeah, well, yes, but it's not about actually achieving whatever crazy resolution you had. It's just about striving towards it. So as long as you're able to come to the table and say that you've strived to do better and to do these things, I think that's like a good thing.
What? Did you forget my number or my email?
Oh, I figured that. Nah, I guess I got you next year.
I must have,
because this is coming out.
I must have been in the third phone.
Yes, seriously.
Okay.
Wow.
But it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and you get to say your vision out loud.
Yeah,
and to get to say the things you want to do, and there's no women there because we did it. I remember one year we did it. And then we went to my cousin's house and we didn't finish the conversation in the restaurant. So the conversation kind of leaned to my cousin's house because people still had to say what their resolution, because it's also a dinner, you're drinking, you're laughing. So it's not like you sit down like it's a meeting. It just kind of happens throughout the night. So there's still a couple people that had to be left to go. So we went to my cousin's house and we was standing, and then we were in his like living room all talking and saying the thing. And his wife was like in the kitchen. And he started saying his thing, and then she interjected, and then he was like, you see why we
Damn.
why you gotta do it offsite?
Yeah, you see why we don't do it like around women?
Yeah.
Because she got involved. So yeah, so it's not like a thing about like, it's just a thing of men holding each other accountable.
I'm here for that.
That's a great practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, right? That's not a
No, I think accountability is good. And I also think in the era of resolutions that we're in, everybody's always like, what am I doing new this year? But I think an important question is, what are you leaving in the past year? Because you can't add a bunch of new things in your mental headspace if you're not clearing shit out.
Yeah.
So what are you two leaving behind in 2024?
That's a good one.
That's a great one.
Do you have any?
I'm leaving behind, I want to say procrastination.
But I gotta stop you, bro, because I feel like you always come on this podcast and you paint yourself as like you're some lazy procrastinator, which is not the person I know you to be.
I know,
What?
but the thing is like it's honestly like, this is pulling back the fifth wall, but like it's almost like that refinery of
the fifth wall.
The fifth wall, yeah. Because I'm telling the truth now. This is
Once
no
you
jokes.
get past the fourth.
Yeah. But like
the extra wall.
It's also, not comparing myself to anybody else, but just comparing myself to
the best
me, and like when I'm actually like accomplishing things, and like that awkwardness of like, man, I'm doing so much, but you're not progressing.
Yes.
And like you're at like a plateau, like in the gym where you reach a plateau where it's just like, all right, like, I am doing things, but the return on the investment isn't where I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
And then it's also like my free time is dwindling, not because of anything negative, but it's just like I want to spend more time with family and I want to do more things and I want to travel more. Like I want to like maximize my time. So it's just like, all right, like there's things that like when you look at yourself in the mirror, like that accountability meeting, which I really want to get invited to next year.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need that because it's just like the times where I could be working on mixes or downloading music or something like that. I'm just just chilling on the couch and just like doing nothing, eating donuts. Then I start feeling bad and then I'm like, oh, I'm in the gym at 5 a.m. Well, like if you had not sat on the couch and ate those donuts for a week straight, you could have, progressed even more. So I'm trying to go from like that good to great of like, of working with Tim Grover. Michael Jordan wasn't Michael Jordan until he had Tim Grover to be like, hey, you are scoring, and Phil Jackson. Like I'm trying to be both.
And that girl who called and got the Masters, she wasn't who she was till she got us.
Exactly.
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course.
You know what? I think that's going to be my resolution. I'm going to go and listen to every volume again just to get our own advice.
Yeah.
And take
sometimes you got to re-listen, retouch.
Retouch
the material.
You got to do the thing.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, maybe this might be, I don't know, I'm sure you could find somebody in like Brooklyn or Williamsburg that'll think this would be like, gender bias, but I just think there's something about like saying your goals in front of other men gives you a bigger weight of like having to do these things. Especially if you know that next year we're going to get together again and we're gonna be doing these things. You know what I think this year when I do, I might actually take notes to have like concrete, because
they got AI for that.
Yeah, we might do it because normally we just go off like, I remember what you said. But, and again, it's not even about you could just be like, oh, I want to be a billionaire this year. That's fine if that's your goal. But it's like, if at the end of the year, now you're a millionaire, it's like, wow. Like this is great.
That's progression.
Yeah, you're on the right path. It's about like constant progression.
Yeah.
As far as like what I'm leaving in 2024, I gotta find something, I guess. I never really think about it as what I'm leaving behind. I always kind of think about like what I want to add to the pot. I wonder what that would be, the leaving behind. What do you have one? Anything?
Yeah, my leaving behind is pretty short, but it's like, I don't know. I had like a major life transition like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I think I spent a lot of this year like mourning the loss of that past version of myself at my old job and my old relationship.
The sexual harassment thing, right?
What? No, stop.
we left that in 2024. We left that in 2023. I apologize.
Yeah.
24.
No, I left not hooking up with coworkers in 2023.
Okay.
But I think I spent a lot of time this year like mourning the loss of that person. And in 2025, I'm like, I'm completely different. My life is completely different. There's no use in thinking of what could have been, because it's not. Like, this is just what's happening in my life.
What's that look like, mourning the loss of like an old you? What's that show itself as?
Just, I think, is like, if I have a work meeting that doesn't go well, or a date that doesn't go well, or I'm upset that certain relationships have been left in the past, I'm like, God, if I wouldn't have done all this work, like maybe this would have been easier. But that's like pointless to think, because
do you ever leave dates like, God, that didn't go well?
yeah.
Really?
Like, as well, not usually for me. Or sometimes I'll be like, God, we just had no fucking chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Why
is that a bad thing?
Why is that? What is the question? What's your question?
Is that a bad thing though? Like, oh yeah, we didn't have no chemistry. Like, it's just like, okay.
No, then you just go get a martini by yourself and smoke a joint,
okay.
call it a night.
See, that's the thing, because I think some men can go on dates with women and they're like, we didn't have no chemistry, but like we could have sex.
I still hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like that puts you in like a weird situation where the chemistry isn't there, but you're like, but I could still probably have sex.
Yeah.
I don't really find myself in that situation.
No, women need chemistry for sex.
Y'all need chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's important.
Most of.
Yeah.
No interest.
Men, that's not like a prerequisite. It's nice.
It's cool.
It's nice to have.
Yeah.
I prefer it. But it's not
A
a
necessity.
deal breaker.
Yeah. It's not
The
like
fact that
dating
I can't
on the
fucking
board.
speak to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's my biggest turnoff is like, I feel like I'm pretty easy to talk to. And if you can't pull one fucking question out of me that gets me interested in the conversation, like if you've got nothing, ew. No.
Let's talk about this, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of bad guy daters on this podcast. What do you like? Why can't these guys, like, I don't get it. Why can't you just have a conversation? I don't get it.
I don't
Like,
understand.
if you're willing, because the only time I think it's difficult is like if you give nothing. Because I'll ask the questions, but if you give bad answers, then it's not. Then I got to just carry the conversation. But if you're not giving bad answers, why can't these guys just ask you, like, you know, what's it like? What's Ohio State like? And then let you ramble off there.
What's Cincinnati like?
Yeah.
Ian,
You
I've
like to
reflected a
ramble?
lot. And God, I would love for somebody to ask me about Ohio. I have so much to say. But I've reflected on this a lot. And I'm like, I think I'm a great question answer. But then I'm like, I think sometimes I turn it into an interview. Like, where I'm just like, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. What's next? And I'm like, I should give more space sometimes and be like, sit there. But like, that turns me off when I'm asking a few questions and the guy's sitting there like, okay, what's next? And I'm like, ew. I find myself in that situation a lot.
What do you mean? What's next? What do you mean?
Like, say we're on a date and I'm talking to you and I'm like, what's the most frustrating thing about work right now? Or so I'm making up a question off the top of my head, and you answer that, and then you're like, yeah, that's what it is. And then we just sit there.
He can't add?
Yeah, and then he's just kind of like, and then he's kind of waiting for me to.
Yeah. No, I hear
another.
you. To be fair, I feel that a lot of times I hear men complain about this with their women counterparts, that a lot of women is very tough to have a conversation with, and they feel like they have to do that. You're going on the opposite.
You're going on the opposite.
You're going on the opposite. Now, do you think it's something you're attracting? A type of guy?
I think maybe that's something I'm leaving in 2024 is talking so fucking much.
But at the same
I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing, but do you think it's a function of social media? Like a lot of people, you're a professional comedian. You speak for a living,
for sure.
right?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know how to have conversations anymore. Like a lot of their conversations are based off the phone. They're always looking at the phone. They don't know how to engage interpersonal engagement.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
you think it's like a function of that too? So who you're attracting, and then also like a function of society?
This is an old question I had for you all, but on that point and in terms of bad dating conversations, what do you do? And have you guys encountered this where like someone you're seeing or like a partner is just on their phone all the time? Like, how do you broach that conversation? That is such a turn off to me.
Yeah, I've never had that. I mean, I've had a girl like pull out her phone a couple times, and generally like they apologize and be like, "Hey, I'm just dealing with this right now."
Yeah.
And I've also had the same thing because I'm a comedian. If I could be out, we could be having dinner at 10 p.m. and I'm getting a deal like on my email that like an offer like that needs an answer right there. I don't have like regular business hours. So,
Yeah.
and those events, I'm like, hey, I have this. I just need to close this real quick and allow me to. But you've been on a date where the guy just won't get off his phone and no like explanation for it?
I'm not saying on like a first date. I'm saying once you're a little bit more comfortable with each other, just constantly on Instagram, constantly on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it. I'm like, like that's such an ick to me.
Yeah. No, I try to establish it early on. Right?
Context.
Early on, like when we had dinner, like I'll do small things like this. Like if we're at dinner, some people just put their phone on the table. I do it sometimes. and I'll just be like, let's not put our phone on the table. Like that's
I love that. Or I go face down.
Yeah, but even if don't
face down,
don't put the phone on
Put
the
the
table.
phone away.
Like just put the phone away. Like,
I like subtleties.
so so you like if you say something like that, I feel like the person understands. Like if this person doesn't want a phone on the table, he's probably not gonna want me on the phone.
In general.
In general. So you say it without saying it.
Yeah.
And also it's a good move to like, so it doesn't seem like you're like their boss, like you're telling them what to do. Have your phone on the table and then move yours to be like, I messed up too. Let's both just both not do this.
I'm here for that.
Yeah. That's
social conditioning.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's social. I mean, it's social
Guantanamo Bay
conditioning.
shit.
Yeah, but like I think more so too is just like establishing like parameters or like boundaries. Like I'm here with you, you're here with me. You know, all of that stuff is there. But like for this hour and a half, 2 hours, let's talk. Let's find out about each other. Because I feel like, you know, as someone who's in a relationship, like there's times where you can be so locked in on what you're doing and like, you know, establishing the context, oh, okay, I know you don't work regular hours. I don't work regular hours between all the things that I'm doing. So like for this time, this is our time that we're sharing with each other. So like, let's build. And then
let's build.
Yo, the world's not gonna, outside of $1 million deal, you know, Netflix, the world's not gonna crash in the next 10, 15, 30 minutes. You know, you can answer that text or email later, unless, again, context, nah, this is Comedy Central or who is it? Max, like saying we want romantic comedy part 2, the sequel in New York.
For $1 billion.
Which,
just
yo, you gotta answer that email. I'm gonna be your number one fan. Yo, you gotta answer that email.
I find generally speaking, I don't find that women are on their phones like a ton on dates.
That's a good. I have a interesting story though. I was privy to.
Hold on, Johan. Can you play the interesting story song?
Oh, thank you. I was privy to a conversation about like the age range and dating, right?
You was privy?
Yeah, privy.
Like you eavesdrop?
Privy, yes. Yeah. That's what I do. Air hustle. Yeah. And the conversation turned into like a podcast about an old lady who she was talking about. She's 49 and she dates. She had dates with men who were 19, 21, up to 25. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. But then in her post, she was saying that basically like a lot of these younger men, they're having a tough time dating women their own age because they go out to dates and the women are always on their phone. They're just like glued to their phone. So like to your point where it's just like, I think maybe because we're a little bit older, but that younger demographic, they're struggling.
Well, I don't mind more than I mind the fact that you are glued to your phone. I care more if your mentality is clearly been radicalized by social media. Meaning if you're like a woman on these dates or a man, because you know that there's radicalization of both genders right now on the internet.
It's a spectrum.
Where you have, you know, you're on a date with a woman and she's like, you know, yeah, I feel that, you know, on a Saturday night, if I want to go for brunch, my man should just Venmo me $3,000. And like, that's like normal, you know? And if I want to do my nails, he should send like $500-$600 like on a Saturday so I could just do my nails. Or it's like, I'm at the grocery store, I want to pick up some groceries. He should send me $2,000 just so I could like buy some groceries to feed my family. It's like, okay, you've been radicalized by the internet to believe that this is something that's happening.
That's what I'm.
Because the problem with the internet is you have this 1% of, I'll say from the women's side, because the man's side is a whole nother problem, but the women's side is you have this 1% of women, which are like these like women who deal with like rappers, scammers, drug dealers, athletes. They're the ones on the microphone giving what they experience.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, a person who sells crack might send you $2,000 on a Saturday
for brunch
for you and your friends, right? A rapper who, you know, is doesn't know how to deal with money, right? Doesn't understand how money works. He'll send you $1,000 so you can buy groceries.
Get your nails.
And I get it. That is nice. If there were a woman that on a Saturday was like, hey, are you hungry? Here's $2,000. Go to brunch with your side hoes. I would be like, this is nice.
Am I going to say no?
Right. I'll be like, this is nice. So I don't judge the women for wanting that. But I feel like I run into now a group of women who believe that this is actual life and a reality of what's happening.
Do you actually date a ton of women who are asking for a bunch of money from you?
No, I don't, because I don't date like that. But I hear them though. I have the conversation.
They definitely talk.
I have the conversation with them.
Yeah,
interesting.
They definitely talk. And my question to that is like, these men. I think there's red flags. If you see the Cash App or the Venmo in the bio, that should be an automatic. I'm getting off the highway.
It
right?
was nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Seeing a Venmo or
Am I
Cash
tripping?
App, no, seeing a Venmo or Cash App in a girl's bio, that's like a guy putting a dick pic as his profile photo.
Literally.
Like it's that level of eternal.
That's a great point.
That
That's a
level
great
of
point.
eternal.
That's a great
And
point.
also, I feel like I
It's an
run
equivalent.
Yeah, I run into this a lot where like I mean, and it's just what's mainstream now. Like I mean, even there's the rapper, what's her name, Lotto. She got the song Brokey.
Brokey, yeah.
You know? But Lotto's like rich.
Yeah.
She's like a rich. That's the thing. Like Meg Thee Stallion is rich. Like Cardi B is very, very rich. Like all these women have more money than their man, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
yet they rap to these younger, more, easily influenced generation about how the men are broke and these. But like these women are multimillionaires.
Yes.
You are not a multimillionaire.
Yes.
So you can't be going around calling a guy brokey when he literally has more money than you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's insane.
That's
Like you're unemployed.
That's too
You
much
don't
logic.
have you're a brokey, right? Which
And
is fine.
it's-
I'm not knocking it, but it's like don't cast aspersions against other people.
for their position in life. And it's interesting that you point that out because, in my travels in New York City, I like to be aware because I'm on one of the best podcasts in the universe. You got to bring content. And I'm like, you ever notice like people in positions, in jobs, in occupations where it's just like, what are you doing here? Your physical build is not like the typical description for this job. For instance, I think I'm walking to the train or something, and I noticed one of the USPS delivery people, and I'm like, lady, what are you doing here? Why are you a male person? And they're like, you're hot. What's going on? She was hot. I'm like,
why enjoy that? I'm good because
what is this?
She doesn't want to post on just her looks.
Exactly. And I respected that. I bought stamps right then and there. I was like, I'm going to mail something because I support this movement. Or like, where was I? A bus driver. You walk up to the bus driver and it's just like, hold on, lady, like, you are not the typical bus driver, train operator profile. What's going on here? Usually they got the big bags and the big boots and they're stomping on big backs. No, she was like, she could have came from Miami just today. I'm like, lady, I'm going to buy a MetroCard.
I will say in my past, I have like talked to a girl for like, a cup of coffee. I mean that theoretically, not an actual cup of coffee, just a short time. That's a saying. Have you ever heard that saying?
Yeah, I liked it, but I was imagining you at a cup of coffee and I didn't know what to do with myself.
for a quick time.
Okay.
Like, you just sit down for a cup of coffee. Like,
I'm here for it.
Yeah. It just me for a quick time. And they've asked me like for money or stuff. Like
that's out of control.
Yeah.
Was that why the conversation was short? Because they asked you for money? Or was it like just gonna be a quick conversation?
No, I mean, once you ask me for money, I'm once you ask me for money, I'm gonna start trolling you.
No,
yeah.
like they legit like was like, hey, can I have or can you send me?
Because to me, I think you think I'm a sucker. So now I gotta start trolling you back, like to let you know like I'm not a sucker. I've actually had this happen multiple times. And I've had a time where I told like where I've had a conversation where I'm like, oh, you think I'm a sucker? Like I'm not. I'm sorry that I come off as that, but I'm not.
How does the conversation go? Like you should send me.
Now this is just embarrassing. It depends. I think it depends where it come from. This is a while ago, but it's been situations where they'll be like they'll ask to be like flown out, like they'll ask to be like sent, like they'll be like, you be like, what are you doing? And they'll go, looking at these bags or whatever, and then they'll send you like $5,000 a Chanel clutch. Like, oh, I love this. You should get me this.
That's so not my disposition.
Yeah. Well, there's different types. You're not from that world. Right?
I guess. Yeah. No.
I'm not from that world either. That's why I'm like,
you gotta leave that in 2024.
We're leaving that in 2024.
Yeah, I'm not from that world either. I'm not from that world, but
don't even invite me to that world, son. That's crazy.
We'll see what happens after the second special.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
right?
gonna be bad.
That's wild, bro.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's crazy. Same way, and the conversation I have, at least with my girlfriends, a lot of them try to excuse it. They're like, they try to excuse, they try to do the whataboutism where they're like, but what about men? They only are concerned with using women for sex. And I counter with sex is a two-person thing, right? You're not being used like you're like a vibrator, like you're a sex doll. It's a two-person thing. I don't think a man wanting to have sex with you is the same as you wanting to take his money. I don't think that's the same thing.
And then what kind of men are they meeting? You know, it's just like, maybe like we're saying, of what you're leaving in the past or what you want to like, maybe like start trying to meet different kind of men or different kind of people, and not to date or anything like that, because
well, it's tough though, because if you grew up dating drug dealers that would just send you $2,000 on a Saturday,
exactly,
you're not gonna go back to dating Johan.
Yeah, I mean, he looks very nice though. He looks very nice.
They're great, but I mean, Johan's not sending you $2,000 on a Saturday.
He got the
He's dating rich women. He got
the Aztecs. What's that? What's his name? Johnny Cash. He got the Aztec Johnny Cash on. He looked like he going to play.
Those boots, I think they're made from crocodile stomach. He's not sending you $2,000.
They was made for walking.
Saturday.
They was made for walking.
Those are hard to get.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like, and that's true. Like, you live in a certain box. Then you got to expand outside of that box, because that's not the real world.
What? Which one?
A drug dealer's giving you $2,000 for you to go.
I be telling them that that's not real life, but people don't. They just imagine it is. And you know what is the problem? Men obviously they feed into it. Some men do it, and I know a lot of men who just lie. Like they're just like, all right, you want to act like I'm a sucker and play me for a sucker for money? I'm gonna just play you, and they just lie. I know one guy who he'll lie. Like I don't applaud this or support it, but he's like ruined women by just lying about like what he was gonna do for them. Like, I'm gonna purchase this for you. Like, I mean, he'll literally go as far as like to tell you to quit your job and have no intention of like
he needs to be arrested.
He's a bad I told him, look, I know we're gonna be like, oh, men should hold men accountable, and that's what we started the podcast talking about, which is true. And we have held him accountable. But his logic is, no, if you think I'm a sucker and you gonna come at me with that energy, I'm gonna come at you with the same energy. He's like, I'm not going up to like good girls and doing this. It's the ones that want to be prostitutes, I'm gonna treat you. That's what he says. It's not what I say. But he had, one time, he met a girl with a kid at the beach. They dated for like a couple weeks, I think. He started lying. I got this, I got that. I own a company, I own this. I'm not gonna say what the company is, but he's like, I own this type of company. I could do this for you. Had her move from her apartment. She had an apartment with her son.
Whoa.
With like 3 weeks in, she moved from her apartment, moved into he got them an apartment. He was in the middle of moving. So he got them an apartment together. They moved in together. And I'm not exaggerating. Within 2 weeks, he was like out.
What?
Like, he was like, this ain't for me, and just left her now with like a rent that she couldn't afford with her kid. It was terrible. I'm like, why would you do this to somebody?
Why did he say, why would you do that?
He was like, I didn't do nothing. He was like, she wanted it, so she did it. But then when I got there, I realized it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, so I did it.
Hold on. Who is this person to you? Is this a close friend?
No, it's not a friend.
Because I was like, he needs to be at the fucking dinner. And he needs to be held accountable.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I actually know the woman that this happened to.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I know the guy through her.
Oh.
And I don't want to.
That's sociopathic.
She might be listening to this.
That's crazy.
He needs like a super villain name. Like, you know how when they arrest like they just arrested the doll, which was like the girl in Colombia who was a serial killer.
Yeah.
Like he needs like a name like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know a guy. I know guys that be like, they'll send you to like the Chanel site, like, pick out what bag you want, babe. Like, they'll start sending you hotels in Bali. Like, which one you think? Like, I'm thinking about this one. And it'll be $10,000 a night hotels. And they'll be unemployed. No intention of buying nothing. Just like completely lying, leading them on. But I was having this conversation recently. I believe that if you're the type of woman where that stuff impresses you, I don't feel sorry for you.
Yeah, that's tacky to me.
Like, if that's the stuff that impress you and that's the stuff that you falling for and you believe it, I don't feel sorry for you.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
You especially if you're if you're off your parents' insurance age, you should know better than that. When you run into older women, the problem with speaking to older women is they don't believe anything. because they've been around the block.
Too many times.
Yeah, they know that it's all
of
BS.
the plays. They're like Bill Belichick. You can't run
It's
anything
hard to
on
run
them.
game
It's
on an
hard.
older- on an older
It's
woman.
nearly impossible. Like they'll see it. If you move a certain way, like that's what's coming.
These young girls, you send them a link for Chanel bags, and they're like,
they gas. Oh my goodness. Yep. That's wild, bro. I feel sorry for her. I hope is she doing better now? She's okay.
She bounced back. Yeah, obviously she bounced back. But it was tough. It was tough. She had to meet another guy and stuff. to
Oh
help
my
her.
God.
Yeah, obviously she kind of went back to the beach.
Yeah, of course,
Dig out.
of course.
It was tough.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Johan, you got anything you leaving in the 2024?
I guess the immediate one that came to me was just like having less FOMO. Like, you know,
You want to
that's-
not care about.
That's
Yeah.
maturity. That's maturity.
because I think there's going to be like I'm anticipating there being more opportunity to have FOMO.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like.
How big is your FOMO, bro?
No, I mean, I just like, sometimes when you're like in it, you kind of just like let it get the best of you and you just like, fuck it. Like, I'm gonna just like, sometimes on Saturday night, I'll be like leading up to the Saturday night, like there's a show that I've, wanted to go to and I'll be like, nah, I gotta like chill. And then Saturday comes and like, fuck it. I'll just buy the ticket and then I'll like.
Well, can I suggest something? I think instead of getting rid of FOMO completely, I think you should learn how to channel it and use it to your benefit, because I think there is a good thing about FOMO that does keep you motivated and doing stuff. If we didn't have FOMO at all, we would just stay at home and never do nothing and not live life.
It'd be
Not
COVID.
live life.
Right.
All over again.
So I think instead of using it like it's a negative thing, use it as a positive thing, because I always do support doing stuff. You should go to the show. You should go out. You should go do the thing.
Yeah.
You have to do the things. You have to live life. I do recommend that. So I don't want people to be like, I ain't doing nothing. I'm just staying in.
Yeah.
I'm always like, nah, go do the things. That's where life happens when you go to the show. It doesn't happen Saturday night at your house.
No, it doesn't. But especially like in a city like New York, where like you go to the show, you meet up with somebody random is like, oh, this wouldn't have happened if I would have stayed in my crib.
Correct.
But at the same time too, I feel like that's one of my, I guess, resolutions is to like manage my fuck it button better, because I do have that fuck it button where it's just like I'm disciplined. And it's like, man, fuck it. I'm drinking tequila all night, son.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, it's Friday and it's Thursday, and I'm just like, oh, I'm still hungover from last Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Even
guess
that
that's
in 2024.
that's why I don't feel bad afterwards. I guess just more so like I want to like try to not like hesitate throughout the week, because that adds just like unwanted stress, I guess, or like should I go, should I not?
You
I
want
kind
to
of
be more
just
decisive.
like just like right there on the dot. And then like, I guess what Ewan's saying is like, I guess I have to make more money to like feel like that. So.
I did this once before at the start of a new year. I was like on, I forgot what year. It might have been like 2013, something like that. But I was saying no too much previous. So my New Year's resolution was to say yes to everything. So for like the first 6 months of the year, I was saying yes to everything. Anything you invited me to, yes. You want to go do this? Yes. You want to go here? Yes. 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 And it is exciting. It does make you live life.
That feels like that doesn't fit your personality.
I was yes man. I had seen that movie with Jim Carrey.
Yes, man.
I think it's called Yes Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he's yes everything. And then you see that life happens more when you yes than when you no. Now, I don't want to ruin anybody's life. They start yes-ing and everything. They end up in prison for, shooting the CEO of a health insurance company. But
Of course.
I mean, the good things you should say yes.
Or moving in with a strange man after the beach in 3 months. But
Yeah,
whatever.
that was wild.
It's all good.
That was
Neither
wild.
here
He
nor
pretended he had like money too. Like, quit your job. I got you.
Yeah, this guy sounds horrific.
Does he not have money?
No.
But also,
Like,
who's
not
quitting?
all.
Who's quitting their job over a guy
You'd be surprised.
after a month?
You'd be
A lot of
surprised.
women.
You'd be surprised. And that's a good point, because a lot of women go through heartbreak and, they open and they still trying to like you said, before they get to that point of they've seen it all, they have to go through seeing it all. And like they still believe and they have that hope. And then you run into Don Juan and he's just like, yeah, I'll buy you Chanel and I'll fly you to the Bali for $20,000 a night, and then nothing.
No.
He literally had intentions of doing absolutely nothing. He was just
nothing.
lying.
That's cold. Cold-blooded.
And he did like a couple things. Like he picked up a couple. Like I remember a couple times she was out with her friends, and he would pay like the whole tab, but it would be a tab of maybe $200 for like 4 or 5 girls, and he pay it, and then they start like, oh, he got money.
Yeah, that goes a long way in terms of optics.
And so when you pay $200, now you start sending $20,000 trips to Bali, and they're like, yeah, he had the $200, so why would he be lying about this?
The 20?
Yeah. Also, it's part of it. Sometimes you just think like, why would they lie about this? Why would anyone lie about this?
Right.
I wasn't asking to go to Bali. Why would you send me a whole itinerary to Bali if you don't have intentions of going?
That's one of the most disgusting things about like, especially being in nightlife, like when dudes lie, it's just like, what are you doing?
Sometimes I wish I was more of a liar.
Really?
Because I feel like I could get a lot further with lies.
Definitely.
I have all the ingredients to be a good liar, right? Like if I start promising you a girl a Chanel bag, she sees me, because they have no idea what I make. Like you just see me on the Tonight Show with The Rock, and you're like, yeah, The Rock can afford a Chanel bag.
Yeah.
For his wife, he could do it, right?
He got it.
I don't have to go far to lie.
Can we get a rundown on the ingredients of what it is to be a good liar? Yeah, for your position.
What do you mean?
Like you just said, you have all the ingredients to be a good liar.
Oh, I just mean optically. I have all the optic things.
Okay.
You have to, if you're just like a nobody who's lying about body, then they're gonna assume you sell drugs or you're into some type of shady business.
Yeah.
But I'm optically, like, I'm on television.
Yeah.
So you see that, and if I were to say, I can come on my private jet, you would be like, maybe he has a private jet. I mean, I don't think so, but why would he lie about this?
Yeah.
True.
Eventually he's gonna, because here's what women think. Women be like, eventually he's gonna have to show me a private jet.
Sometime.
And men be like, no, I won't.
I don't. Yep.
I just keep pushing it. Every time you about to go fly, you're like, oh, my pilot got sick. My pilot got COVID. My pilot got shot.
Yep.
The airplane is out of commission.
Yep.
We can't find flight attendants.
Ran out of gas.
We got a pinch tire.
Yeah.
We can't use the private jet. We got to go Spirit.
Yeah.
We gotta go.
Because it's the last minute.
Yeah,
right?
because it's last minute, because we was going to take the jet. So we got to go middle seat, last row Spirit.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
See last row.
I want to be a reverse liar in that sense of like the dudes where you see them dressed in the New Balances and stuff, and then you find out their net worth is $200 million. Just like, oh, wait a minute. He looked, like you said, he looked homeless.
Yeah.
That's who I'm looking for.
That's my goal in life. But at the same time too, because of what I was blessed with, being vertically blessed, as well as being addicted to ink, I don't think that's in the tarot cards for me. Like, I look like a ball player. So it's just like, I won't be able to get that off. Even if I try to get that off, it's going to be like, oh, what does he do?
Take it as a compliment to yourself. I think you have too much style. Like, you've got some money in the bank.
It's a gift and a curse. It's a curse when your style, your taste has exceeded your bank account. That's currently what I'm suffering from.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Man, thank you. I appreciate it.
Can you two also give resolutions for the year? So we did left. Do you guys have any big goals for 2025?
Yeah. I had I had one thing about what we were talking about. And again, generally, like all my homegirls, like my girlfriends who I grew up with and went to school with, they're all bosses. Like they're all like highly.
Shout out, clip that up, send that as a Christmas card.
No, they're all highly successful women. Like they all have great jobs in high positions.
Big shout out.
They all have multiple degrees. They all have fancy cars. They're all like, most of them are married with a husband who's high level, and
that's what's up.
Like 95% of the women who I grew up with are all very, very successful.
That's what's up.
Of my homegirls. But there is a faction of other girls who I know, who I meet, which I think is so strange. Like, it's so many. I feel that I know so many, and when I say so many, I just mean more than I should know, of these women who, let's say you have a man who does have some money or is doing something, but so many girls out there, I think now, are dating a guy where it's like, if you guys break up, for you to be okay, for you to be back where you are, you need to meet another guy. Like, you're not, I've never been in a relationship where if I broke up, I was now financially less.
Yeah, struggling.
That was like, I've never been in a relationship where I'm like, damn, if I left her, I gotta find a new girl to keep up this lifestyle.
Yeah.
So many women are living like this where I'm like, isn't that crazy that your whole lifestyle is dependent of this one person?
Yes, and I think when we think about the arc of women's earning potential, like, we're in the first few generations where it's normalized, where a woman is an equal partner in income earning or the main income earner.
Yeah.
So like, I think it's simply a symptom of, like, when I was growing up, it was normal that the mom stayed home, and my mom is a master's, and it was an expectation for her to stay home and raise the kids. So I'm not surprised that it's still a norm that women expect, like, oh, my husband's just gonna. And I also don't judge women.
Well, husband is okay.
Husband or but I think the best investment anybody could make would be in their child. If you have a girl, to instill in her head that you are responsible for your own finances. Yeah. Like I never want to be, I want help, but I never will be financially dependent completely on a man.
To be in that boat, like you said, like where it's just like, oh, I got to find somebody else in that same tax bracket to continue this way of life. You're absolutely right.
When I speak to my homegirls who are like earners, they always feel that these women are like their biggest down more than their biggest downers more than men are in the fact because they're like working and trying to like elevate, and then there's like this other faction of women who they speak on who they're like, yeah, but they're like they don't have any desire to make money or they're just like, no, we just want to find a man to pay, like they want to go back to the 50s.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen.
But again, I also think it's a double-edged sword where our society asks women to invest a lot of money in the way that we look. And I don't have any hatred for women who that's the route they want to go. Like I'll invest in my body and maybe I was blessed with great features. And so my goal is to catch a man to pay for me. But I just think it's extremely limiting, and the time ticks and everybody gets older, and once you get super old, you're on.
By super old you mean like 28?
That's a true story. And then
I'm right there
too is that like I feel like it limits like because a lot of my homegirls that I went to school with specifically like are brilliant like thinkers. Like that was, of course they're attractive as people, but it's also like their brains are attractive where it's just like, man, I really love talking to you. I love being challenged on these points. I've never seen things like that before. And I feel like when you just focus on your looks and not wanting to like invest in your own self, you like limit yourself where it's just like you don't know what you can untap. Like you could be the next whatever, next
some women, I mean, let's be honest, not just women, same gender. Some people are not meant to do anything.
They're not.
Some people are just,
they're not.
They're just,
they're not.
Is like God, when he made people, he got busy.
Yeah, he did.
Some people that he just sent out there.
Yeah, to give a blessing.
He just sent them out there and he was like, listen, you're not meant to, you kind of just will exist and figure it out. I'll help you, but I'm not going to give you many tools.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
To do anything great.
Do anything great. Yeah. But it's fine. Because he might be like, I'll give you like a fat ass. And then women are like, okay, I'm going to figure it out with this. Right. And they figure it out. But then they'd be better off than the other girls who got the brains.
But then God blessed somebody with a brain to do the BBL, and now it's all level.
Yeah,
totally.
It's all level.
I will say, speaking of New Year, it's weird every year of aging how you see people from your life growing up just peel off, and you're like, oh, you're just gonna do that for the rest of eternity? Like you're just really gonna marry this guy from high school who has nothing interesting to, like every year I feel like you see more people who are not going to be great. And life's long, you can turn it around, but once we hit mid-20s, early 30s, you're kind of locking in what your probable vibe's gonna be.
Yeah, no, I mean, everyone, look, I know this is the Adulthood podcast. We preach on bettering yourself, but yeah, not everyone is meant to be,
because but bettering yourself, honestly, and having that conversation is hard. It's not easy. That's the thing too, where it's just like a lot of people they look up at that mountain and say, you know what, I'm not climbing that mountain. I'll go over here, play in the sand.
Yeah, I feel like I don't want to make it seem as if we were only speaking about women, because men are these men that don't want to do anything. I know men depending on women to pay their bills, and that's insane.
That's crazy to me. I don't even understand that kind of psyche.
I just think as people, we gotta try to do better, man.
Yeah,
we gotta try. It's a new year. Stop letting social media dictate the rights and the wrongs of your life.
So how
except art
for sure, because we'll help you get a master's degree. How can people do better?
Well, look, I would say to these girls, go get a job, but they're not going to do that. Because why would they get a job when they look good and they can have a drug dealer send them $2,000 on a Saturday? So they're not going to do that. And also, not everyone needs to, like, life is big and long enough where everyone can do, not everyone needs to be good. we need bad people too, right? Bad is just the other token of good. It's a double-edged token. It's not a single thing. So some people are just, there's going to be bad men, right? It's like, we can tell you, oh, better yourself this way. But some men don't want to be better. Like the guys I know who lies, they don't want to be better.
Yeah.
Like I speak to a lot of guys who are like, they don't even respect women at all.
That's
like,
crazy.
As far as respect, I don't mean that they're walking around disrespecting them, but they don't even respect them as like people. Like they treat them as like a little lower than like a person.
That's wild.
In the sense of like, they don't care about like hurting their feelings or breaking their heart, or they just don't, they're not like, they're sociopathic.
It doesn't register for them.
Yeah, they're like, who cares if your heart is broken? Like,
that's crazy.
It's your heart. Just deal with it. They're sociopathic in that way. To those guys, like, what are we gonna tell them? Like, they're not gonna change.
Just pray for them.
Yeah, they're not gonna change.
Pray for them.
You should try to be better though. I think that's a good resolution. If you can't find a good goal for the new year, good resolution, be like, yo, I want to be better.
Yeah.
And however that presents itself on a daily basis, do that.
It's independent to you.
Be better every day. You know, whether it's like hold the door for somebody, say good morning to somebody, help somebody carry their bags, buy somebody coffee at Starbucks, do whatever, just be better every day.
Yeah.
And that alone is good. I mean, 2025, my new year, I have a lot this year. You know, I expect to be releasing my second special, which I've already taped
filmed
by the time this comes out. So I expect to release that. With that comes a lot of promotion and, you know, different opportunities once that's out. And then once it's out, I have to rebuild the whole new act. So
from the beginning,
yeah,
I respect that so much, man. That's wild.
I have to build 50 to 55 minutes from zero. Right now, I have nothing. I have a couple, you know, I use the podcast a lot to help me with some stories and stuff that I tell on stage. So yeah, right now, I just have a couple stories from the podcast that I told, that I've written down, that I want to revisit and dig into. And hopefully by, you know, this time next year, I'd like to have I'll have a new 45 minutes. It won't be great, or it won't be, you know, what it's going to be, but it'll be serviceable.
I have a question.
Yeah. Is
that like a cathartic process once you release the special, like starting from zero, like that? Is it nervous, but at the same time, like, okay, like I'm at square one. Like, let me see, like, let me test myself. Like, all right, like, you're a comedian, right? Like, comedian.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's very nerve-wracking. It's I don't think any other job has this feeling. No, because it would be like, because you obviously you have your old jokes that you could do. Yeah. But you want to hold yourself to like a higher standard of not doing old jokes, not relying on that, because you want to give your fans, people who continue to follow, you want to give them new material. But it feels like you're an athlete. Like it would be like you're a baseball player, like you're batting, but you don't have a bat. So I don't have any jokes. Damn. So I got to figure this out. Yeah. I got to figure out how to make a bat or take a walk. I got to figure this out. Damn. But it feels very, it feels like you're like paddling water. But that's what you rise to the occasion, and just time passes, and then you look back and you're like, oh, before you know it, by the spring, I'll look back, I'll be like, I have a new 15, 20 minutes. And by the summer, I'm like, oh, I'm at 30 minutes. And maybe hopefully by the end of the year, I'm like, I think I have a nice little 40, 45.
That's fire.
You tour it and then you tighten it up, and then 2-3 years you film again, and that's the process.
That's fire.
Oh yeah.
It's a daunting process, but you got to do it. For me, at least for me personally, it beats waking up at 7 a.m. every day to get on the bus or the train to go to work.
Let me tell you something. That's a fact.
Yeah.
It's true. I think my resolution for you is the garden, son. We got to get this in the garden, B, for real. So I can just be the +1. I want to be behind the scenes. I want to shake everybody's hand. I still want the name tag. Like, yeah, I'm part of the entourage. Yeah, I'm part of the entourage. What's it? Craft services. I like, what's the sandwiches? Club sandwiches. Give me a club sandwich.
Wow.
Sparkling water. I'm ready to be bougie.
You know what's funny about that? I feel like a lot of times people say stuff like that to me. I mean, obviously I know you're kidding, but people say like these high goals for me, which I generally don't have, which I'm just like, I don't have it. Like, that's not a goal for me. Like,
then what's your goal? Just to continue to sustain a career for the rest of your career?
Yeah, like I literally, I don't have Madison Square Garden as a goal. Like, I don't even think about that. It doesn't, like...
My goal for you is completely selfish.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I know. I'm saying...
You're my best shot at the Garden. So.
It's 100% for me, and I want to put that up. No,
I know. I'm pivoting to people do say stuff like that to me, like not being a guard, but it'll be something else. Like, I remember I had a friend who early on when I was starting, he used to be like, I will, if I post that I do something, he used to be like, I want you to do international. Like I want you to perform in Europe, or I want you to perform in all these things. And now I've done all those things, but that was never my goal. I was never like, yeah, I want to perform in Abu Dhabi. I never thought that. Like that just happened. Like I had other goals that led me to this goal. That led me to that goal, which was never mine. Sometimes I'll be wanting to tell people, you go perform at the Garden. like you perform in Abu Dhabi. That's hard.
Yeah.
But if you set other goals, like I rather set small goals that I can work on that can lead me to that.
Yeah. But then do you think that's also like, because it's also a different perspective of like, wow, they see the greatness in you already, that they're like manifesting or like they're projecting like greatness onto you in the sense of, because like I've had people where it's just like, oh, like I can see you playing college ball or something like that, where it's just like, I'm trying to make the team, but they could already see like the vision. And then like you said, you work into it, but like maybe they're like, is that a bad thing or a good thing when they like,
I don't see it as a bad thing. I don't see it as a bad thing at all, but I just think is a thing where you as the individual who's receiving that type of thing, you can't let yourself get caught up with those things. Because it's like me doing the Garden, I really don't control that.
Yeah.
Like I only can control if I can develop a good new hour for people to see. That's a goal that I can control. I can be like, yes, I can work at this. I can try to do a new hour. Now, how great that hour becomes and how many people want to come see it, that's a lot of other things. So I can't even set that as a goal because it's like, that's not, even if I was like, I want to do Madison Square Garden and hire a staff of 20 people to try to help me. There's no, it's an organic thing a lot of times.
Yeah.
I
think focus more on something you can achieve, and that'll lead you to the thing.
Focus on your input.
Definitely. Yeah. But at the same time too, and like, because you bring up a good point. I was listening to like Tony Yayo talk about 50 and the whole G Unit run.
Yeah, I've listened to a lot of those.
And he was just like, somebody, I think it was Akon's brother Boo, who told him like, yo, that kind of generational talent doesn't touch everybody. And it's just like, you got to know when to play your position. Like, case in point, like Maverick and like his team around LeBron, where it's just like, people know you're not going to be LeBron, but like you could be the LeBron in your role. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, but at the same time too, it's just like, no, like obviously like you can tell LeBron is going to be a generational player, 50 Cent. And it's not about like just the talent, it's the work ethic too. So like, you know, with me talking about the Garden, is like obviously like that's manifesting because I want to be behind the scenes. But it's also a testament to your work ethic. Like it's also realizing that, man, like I can't do that. I know I can't do that. I don't have the discipline to start over again from zero to write jokes. I don't have the discipline to do 2 and 3 shows in a night. Like to keep going and keep going. And like to see you from open mics to now Jimmy Fallon 15 times and like doing your specials, just like you notice a pattern. Like, okay, this could happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, again,
Shout out to Yayo.
I just think that when it comes to resolutions, dealing with something that you can be held accountable on, it's a better way of actually keeping them going. Saying something like I want to do something, which is like, if you set out to do the Garden, even if you don't do, like if you set out to do the Garden and you do Radio City, that's a massive accomplishment.
Amazing.
That's a massive accomplishment.
Huge.
But when we like focus it so much on like the Garden, it diminishes on all the little other things that you can do. And Radio City is not a little thing. That's massive. Like that is the biggest thing. You can. I imagine it's not on the planet. It's not more than 1,000 people that have ever played that ever on the history of humanity. I imagine.
I'm down for Radio City too. Let's manifest it.
So when it comes to resolutions, I'm using my example as a way to like, instead of saying I want to do this whole thing, just focused on the thing you can fix and watch what can happen. Like with my friend, he was always, I want you to perform in Africa. I've done all those things. Never set out to be the goal.
Yeah.
The goal was just to put out work that I thought was good.
Yeah.
And I worked on that. And that led me to check off, these other things.
Yeah.
And I think people should take that into consideration when they're setting their resolutions. Like these massive resolutions. I want to be a billionaire. It's like, so $1 million ain't good?
Yeah.
$1 million is a failure?
I think my resolution is just be consistent.
Yeah.
Be consistent. Like work and not let your feelings drive the discipline. You know, the times when I don't feel like doing this and I don't feel like doing that, like, all right, but you set a goal of being consistent. So
that's a great goal.
Yeah.
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
That's the key to any success is just consistency.
That's Fendi.
Nothing happens, overnight.
No.
But yeah, to all the people who are thinking about making a resolution, make resolutions you can actually do. Watch how different it is. Because a lot of people set resolutions sometimes that they know they're not gonna achieve. Is like, watch what it does for you when you actually do reach some of the ones that it'll be like, okay, this is something that you can actually do. I want to stay. I've been in the gym for like 2 months now. I want to stay this year also, like in the fitness thing.
That's
like, I don't want to, because I'm in my mid-30s. I don't want to just allow myself to die.
Yeah.
I want to
stay
healthy.
Should we do a poll? Tell us what your resolutions are for the adulterers?
If you guys want, send us a voice note or a DM on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll shout you out. We'll be your accountability partner.
We could do the resolution stuff.
Yeah.
But we're here to guide you guys all through the year on your resolutions and whatever you want to do. Don't forget to send us a phone call, 347-378-9423. Happy New Year, everybody. 2025. Let's get after it. Later.